BC.
Perfect night. Stampeders taking their perfect record against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will kick off to get this game underway. And handling the kickoff duties, Mike McGrath. This game is underway. And the ball is sent deep to the newcomer in the lineup, Larry Thompson, for the Blue Bombers. Thompson, good effort to cross the 25-yard line, gets to about the 27-yard line, where Winnipeg will scrimmage 1st and 10. And the starting quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, getting his starting job back, is Tom Burgess, replaced by McManus last week, but Burgess is back at the helm of the Bombers as they will attempt to improve on their 3-3 record. 75-yard kickoff and a 27-yard return to get this game underway. And they get to the big guy. Finley in to make the stop on Warren Hudson. Let's check the offensive keys for this game, Joe.
Is to get a lot of attention for his running back, Robert Mims, because that'll set up the passing plays to Perry Tuttle and his other wide receivers.
A gain of 4 yards on the last play, make it 2nd and 6. The ball's at the 33. Fake buys a little time, complete to Crefo, and Crefo gets the first down up across the 50-yard line for the Bombers. Mark Odom, a rookie middle linebacker, in there to make the stop for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, the defensive keys for Calgary are going to have to be pass rush from Will Johnson. He's got to get up there and make some things happen, and they got to hold up at the outside. The corners, Junior Thurman made the big plays last week, and of course Matt Findlay is the linebacker that makes most of their tackles.
This is Mims, and Mims down across the 45-yard line, gets to about the 42.
On the play, tackled by Matt Finley.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers showing some unaccustomed offensive thrust early in this game. That's one of their big problems so far this season, is lack of consistency on offense. But they've got it going here tonight. Hudson, Crefo, and then Mims. And they're down at the 42-yard line at the Calgary Stampeders. Early first quarter action. Burgess. Intercepted by Junior Thurman. He had a hand on it, had a couple of hands on it, but was unable to control it.
Well, Junior Thurman, he read the play all the way. You know, that was a curl pattern. He broke right in front of the football. Sometimes when that ball is growing bigger and bigger and bigger, getting right in front of you, you don't realize that it's there. You don't catch the football. You got to look that ball in. Instead, he knocked it down.
Well, he did half the job anyway. As a DB, you're supposed to either pick him off or knock him down, and he knocked it down. 2nd and 10 Bombers from the Stampeders' 42. Burgess airs it out. Touchdown! And a flag goes down. Larry Thompson did a beautiful job of spotting that ball in the air and changing his pace. Greg Peterson was defending on the play. He got tied up, and Thompson did a great job in watching that ball all the way into his arms.
Larry Thompson did a good job of catching that ball, but you know, Tom Burgess put it up where they could catch it.
Calgary number 2, penalties declined. Touchdown.
And the offensive line gave him the protection that he needed. Ballard got picked up by the guard pulling out, and Burgess had the time, put that ball up there, and Thompson made it history.
Trevor Kennard will attempt the point after for the Bombers, who strike early. And the kick is good. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers jump in front 7-0 on a long pass.
Alvin Milton and the Calgary Stampeders are keeping up to help kids.
Well, Burgess is coming out. You can see the line doing a pretty good job of picking up the protection.
We'll have $2
and they lose him downfield.
Related to the helpline. Papa Lumps of Help Us and the Stampeders.
And of course, every quarterback has to pay the price. And look what happened to Burgess after he delivered that football.
I've got a feeling he'll take it. The way things have gone for Burgess and the Bombers so far this season, he'll take a hit like that to put 7 points on the board. And that's exactly what the Bombers have done. Take an early 7-0 lead against the undefeated Calgary Stampeders with 12 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the opening quarter.
Well, Darrell Rogers said, hey, I told you this Thompson guy can play football. Everybody wanted to know why he left Larry Willis at home. I guess we found out why. We know he's a good returner, Thompson, but now we know he can catch that football when it's hanging up in the air.
Kennard kicks to Hopkins at the 20. And Hopkins tried to find some running room on the right side, but the Bombers specialty team were having none of that.
5 yards.
Craig Harrison,
Tackled by
Michael Allen,
First down, Stampeders.
downfield to make the stop, a 55-yard kick, and only a 7-yard return from Hopkins. Danny Barrett will once again start a quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders, and what a job he has done for the Stamps so far this season. 1 interception and 252 pass attempts. Stamps 1st and 10 from their own 27. Barrett looking for Sean Beals. It's incomplete.
Well, Danny Barrett had that flood zone out there. He put the ball out to Beals, didn't quite get it on the money, but he really pushed the defense off with all of those people, and he's going to have some help from Alan Pitts, because that's the guy that makes the big plays. And of course, Key Van Jenkins can keep the pass rush honest by having them respect the run.
2nd and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 27-yard line. Winnipeg leads 7-0 early first quarter here in Calgary. Barrett over the middle, complete. That time, Beals had a handle on it.
Pass complete.
And I believe Winnipeg have recovered. They have indeed. The Bombers come up with the first turnover of the game. More from McMahon after this.
In Regina last night, Rough Riders led the BC Lions 47-42 with a minute to go. The Lions recovered the short kickoff at midfield, and then Doug Flutie took over. His scrambling ability made the difference in this last gasp touchdown drive. The opposition knows what he's going to do. They just can't stop him. Flutie completed the drive with 8 seconds to go, plunged in himself to give the Lions victory. 97 points scored in Regina. 50 of them cost Saskatchewan's John Gregory his job. The Lions get yet another last-minute win. Gregory got his pink slip this morning, and we'll talk to the Riders' general manager at halftime and the man who's been hired to replace John Gregory, Dom Matthews, will be with us. We'll also get a preview of the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. They begin there on the weekend. Steve?
Thank you, Scott. Joe Galat, you've been in that position before on the firing end of a coaching situation. You've had to fire a few in your time.
I had to get fired a few times, too. I'll tell you, it's better to fire than to get fired.
Fumble by the Bombers. Calgary have recovered. Mims coughing up the ball, and Matt Finley scoops it up for the Stampeders.
Well, Matt Finley not only scooped it up, he had to fight off some people. He was being held. They were pulling on his jersey. He still leaped back in and got the football. That's a good play by Matt Finley, an alert play, and they stuffed Mims at the line of scrimmage that time. This is more characteristic of Calgary. They get turnovers instead of give turnovers.
And they spot the ball at the 47-yard line as we take another look at the fumble and the recovery by the Calgary Stampeders. So the turnovers are now even at 1 early in the first quarter. 1st and 10 Stampeders from their own 47. They trail 7-0. They try a running play up the middle across the 50-yard line.
Calgary has a lot of respect for Winnipeg's defense. Even though they've had injuries, there's still a Jerome Reinhardt who's given them good pass rush. And Darrell Sampson, he's one of those corners that, or one of those halfbacks that helps you because he is a non-import. And then Greg Battle is their middle linebacker that does a lot of things from the inside.
Key Van Jenkins and Andy McVeigh, the running backs for Calgary, as Barrett puts this one up, and he completes to Pitts, and a flag goes down. Pitts taking that ball at the 47-yard line. Darrell Sampson covering on the play for the Bombers.
Well, one of the things you know about Pitts is he's taller than both of those halfbacks.
Pitts 6'4", 200
Forward
pounds.
pass interference. Winnipeg number 30. Penalties decline. First down.
Pass interference against the Bombers. And They spot the ball just over the 45-yard line. Let's take a look at that again.
Well, he's outreached here, so he tries to take a little piece of the laundry, and that's illegal. Pitt still catches the ball anyway.
1st and 10, Stampeders from the Bombers 45. Kevan Jenkins, the ball carrier, 3 yards, no more.
Ball carrier tackled by Mike Gray.
Mike Gray in there to make the stop for Winnipeg. That Winnipeg defense, as Scott pointed out, injury-riddled to say the very least. They are playing without Quincy Williams, Dave Babel, Ty Jones, James West, and Stan Nicholas.
They even got their ball boy hurt last week. Jim Geeby, he was catching the football, broke his hand. Had some bad luck on injuries.
2nd and 8, Stabs from the Bombers 43. Barrett dropped for a loss. Jerome Reinhardt.
Well, that's the guy we just talked about. Jerome Reinhardt likes to rush the passer. And Jerome Reinhardt, he takes off here on Ken Moore, and he gets his hands on him. That's what a defensive lineman likes to do. They want to get their hands on him. They want to grab cloth and just pull, and watch what he does. He gives him an outside fake, and then he shoulder slaps him, takes back the inside, and gets a clean sack. But Barrett said, I'll give up a sack.
3rd sack of the year for Reinhardt. The punt goes off the side of the foot. Takes a good bounce. Taken by Thompson. He gets up just shy of the 20-yard line where Winnipeg will scrimmage 1st and 10.
On the return.
Not bad field position, and that's what Barrett, that's his philosophy. I'll take a sack rather than throw an interception and let people get turnovers. So now Burgess has to go into business on his own 20-yard line. That's a long way to go.
Not a great punt for Brent Mattich, who came into the game averaging 41.7 yards for the Stampeders. That was a 35-yard punt and a 5-yard return. Bombers, 1st and 10 from their own 20. They give to Mims, and Mims goes nowhere.
That's what Wally Buono told us. They want to be able to control the football. They have to be able to control the running game of Winnipeg. Get them in long yardage situations. Johnson came right through the cutoff block and gets good help from Fendley. They take him down for a no gain.
So they'll do it again. 2nd and 10, just shy of the 20. Time Burgess in and out of the arms of Crefo. Crefo got a piece of it. Ken Leonard was defending on the play.
Burgess needs to get the ball a little bit inside. They read the blitz. He wanted to put the ball back to Crefo, but Burgess knows he's going to get hit. He has to deliver quick. Warnock's right in there, and he gives him looked like a bobbing doll. That head was bobbing like some of those you see in the back of an automobile.
Late hit, maybe?
No, it just doesn't feel good. That head's only connected by the neck bone, you know. That was legal. He's in there at the football.
First punt of the game for the veteran Bob Cameron, 12th-year pro out of Acadia University.
With the secret shoe, remember.
We'll have more on that later in the game. Mark Guy. He's got room. Good block. Guy could go. Forced out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Eddie Taylor knocks him out of bounds. If he hadn't, that could have been a Stampeder TD.
The Sender Award, and Mark Guy just tried to get into the act, Steve, with that 38-yard punt return that set the Stampeders up nicely.
It certainly did. It shortens the field of play somewhat. You know, through 6 games so far this season, Calgary have started their drives from their own 43-yard line on an average. Winnipeg at their own 36.5-yard line. But look where it is now. It's at the 23, 1st and 10 for the Stamps. Barrett puts it up. It's long. He was hoping to find Carl Bland, but threw it over his head. Good coverage on the play.
Coach Buono said, we only need 3 seconds to throw the football. And Barrett had his 3 seconds. They wanted to run the post corner, couldn't get it back. So I know Buono feels just as well that ball was thrown way over the head rather than risk the interception. 2 more yards shorter, it might have been an interception.
2nd and 10 from the Bombers' 23. Barrett incomplete to Pitts. He had it for a fleeting second, and after the hit from Bobby Evans, wasn't able to hang on. Good coverage by Evans.
Well, good pressure by Jerome Reinhardt again. He's in there and he's disrupting Barrett's ability to throw the ball. I mean, you could try to serve a tennis ball, and if somebody's going to hit you while you're trying to serve the tennis ball, you're not going to get it done, and that's what happened. And there's good play. Good play on the reception, but I think the biggest part of that play was the pressure on the quarterback, Danny Barrett.
So that brings on McLaughlin to try the field goal from just outside the 30-yard line. It is good, and the Calgary Stampeders put their first points on the board.
Winnipeg Blue
For Mark
Bombers
McLaughlin in this league, a straight-ahead kicker, and he can kick the football.
Pick your team and pick your wages at any
McLaughlin comes into the game as the leading point getter for the Calgary Stampeders with 82. Now has 85 on the season. Tom Burgess looked impressive in the first Winnipeg drive, and then they had a turnover in their second drive.
But it wasn't Burgess' turnover. He got the football into the receiver's hands, and that's what he wants to get done in this drive.
First and 10, Bombers from their own 35. Complete to Streeter, and Streeter brought down at the 40-yard line.
Burgess pass to Streeter.
Well, Ron Hopkins respects Streeter's speed. Now, here's a guy out of North Carolina, used to play quarterback. I mean, this guy, you talk about quarterbacks that can run. He looked like Tracy Ham in university, but at North Carolina, he is no longer there. He's not playing quarterback anymore, and he's a good wide receiver. So they've got some people that are capable. Larry Thompson on one side, Eric Streeter on the other side. They've got some speed on the outside. That's going to help.
Second and 5, Bombers from their own 40. Burgess puts it up, looking for Streeter down the right side. Incomplete.
Burgess pass.
Well, that time they had Mims outside of Streeter. They had a 3-receiver formation to the short side of the field. That's a lot of receivers in that short side, and just didn't have enough room to get the play executed. Burgess is talking to Thompson, and you know what Thompson's telling him? Hey, I'm open. You know, I've never seen a receiver yet that didn't go up to the quarterback and say, yeah, I'm open. I was open on that play. Darryl Rogers doesn't think he was open, I don't think.
Bob Cameron comes on a punt for the second time in the game. The last time, a good return from Mark Guy. Taken at the 30-yard line. Bland. And Bland gets up across the 35 into the 37-yard line.
7 yards on the play. Matt Pierce on the tackle for the Blue Bombers.
Mentioned the fact that Bob Cameron is cooking or kicking, and he's doing a little cooking with the kicking too. With a new pair of shoes he's imported from the United States. Does not have a lace on the outside, which makes it an illegal shoe in the National Football League.
Looks like a bat shoe. You know, it's got that flap that goes over the laces. It's a bat shoe.
Been kicking well. First and 10, Stampeders from their own 37. Flag down. They get to Kevan Jenkins. He gets up to the 40. Mike Gray in there to make the stop for the Bombers. Gray playing in his 100th game. 7-year pro out of the University of Oregon.
Well, Michael Gray knows Kevan Jenkins pretty well. They were on a Grey Cup championship team together. I think he's giving him the business there. He gave Kevan a good hit, and then he said, come on back this way, I'll hit you again.
Procedure, Calgary number 63. Penalties decline. Second down.
Penalty is against Bill Henry. Keep your eye on number 63.
Oh, Bill, you got to wait till the ball snaps on. Bill went a little bit early on that one.
Second and 7 situation. Barrett fires a strike on the right side to Beals.
Barrett pass complete to Sean
Darrell
Beals.
Sampson covering for the Bombers.
One of the amazing things about Calgary is to be able to replace receivers that are injured. Watch Beals. He hasn't had that many chances this year. But look at him. He plays right off of Sampson, comes back and catches a football. And that ball was thrown hard. He threw that on a rope.
4:47 remaining in the opening quarter. Bombers in front 7-3. First and 10 for the Stamps, and that is incomplete. That was Barrett looking for Andy McVeigh.
You know, Danny told us, he said, I haven't had a lot of interceptions, but he said, I've had some in the defensive people's hands. They just haven't caught him. I know why they haven't caught him. He throws that ball with some velocity.
We had a long conversation with Danny Barrett yesterday. says one of the reasons that the Stamps and he are playing so well this year is confidence. Of course, when you're 6-0, you got a lot of that. 2nd and 10. Barrett complete to his favorite target, Pitts. Pitts brought down at the 42-yard line by Bobby Evans.
11 yards on the play.
Well, Pitts is going to run the bend out, the break out, but what is important is the protection that Danny Barrett called on this play. He called for the reach protection. He slid the whole pocket to the outside. He's moving to the outside. Now watch the break. Now the break to the ball, and Barrett delivers it. But he's changing. He's moving his pocket, changing up his protection.
1st and 10, Stampeders. Barrett airing this one out, looking for Guy. Oh, just over his outstretched fingertips. Didn't miss him by much.
Guy incomplete. Rod Hill on the coverage.
He knew where he wanted to go, and I'm surprised he threw the ball because the free safety was coming back across. But if you watch this play, it's not far off. It is not far off.
Second down, Stampede.
So Rod Hill's glad that that ball was overthrown.
Mark Guy will go back in the huddle and say, look, Danny, I almost had it. Let's try it again.
Yeah, and Danny would probably go after him, but not on this play.
Says that's one of the reasons that he and Alan Pitts are working so well is because Pitts comes back into the huddle all the time and tells him he wants the ball. He's open. 2nd and 10. Stamps from the 41 of the Bombers. Barrett under pressure, and this time the Bombers defense rises to the occasion, led by Alfred Payton.
Well, that's a big play for Alfred Payton. Alfred Payton's in
9 yards
for
on the play.
some injured football players. I mean, that whole defense has been sort of makeshift. And watch Barrett as he starts to set up. Payton's being held, but he comes right underneath Key Van Jenkins and makes the sack. Once again, Barrett doesn't get shook up on sacks. He'll take a sack if he doesn't see anybody open.
Matic with a good high punt. And this one sails into the end zone. And the Bombers concede the single point rather than attempt to run it. CFL, the Calgary Stampeders still unbeaten with 12 points in first place in the West. Edmonton following that big win over the Argos last night, putting some pressure on the Stamps. BC putting pressure on the Eskimos, only 2 points behind. Saskatchewan, you hate to say it at this stage in the season, perhaps almost mathematically eliminated. In the East, Toronto still on top. Winnipeg in second place with 6 points. Would love to make that 8 tonight. And then Ottawa and Hamilton. Hamilton still looking for their first points, and those two teams will close out the week on Saturday night at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Rough Riders and Ticats. It's 1st and 10 for the Bombers from their own 35. And that single point. Bombers lead 7-4. This is Mims. He got a hole and then some, and Mims almost up to the midfield stripe, ridden down by Ron Hopkins.
Ron Hopkins on the tackle. A gain of 18 yards on the play.
Oh, you can see what's happening here is Johnson went down to the inside. He vacated his position. He was on a stunt, came all the way down to the inside. It is just very easy for the offensive line to open that hole for Mims on the counter play coming back. They can't show them ahead of time what their stunts are going to be.
An 18-yard pickup for the Bombers. 1st and 10 from the 53. Burgess to pass. Over the middle, in and out of the arms of the big target, Rob Crefo. That would have been a big gain, a very useful gain for the Bombers.
That's hard to overthrow Crefo. That ball wasn't too high. This guy's about 6'7", and he can reach up and catch the football. They got a piece of him there, and it might have disrupted his concentration, but daggone, you got to catch those.
He's listed as 6'6", 215 pounds, a third-year pro out of the University of Toronto.
Looks like an
standing
NBA
next to him tonight, I thought he was more like 6'7", 6'8".
He looks like he could play in the NBA. He's something, Steve.
2nd and 10 Bombers. Burgess with time. Over the middle, this time complete to Crefo. And Crefo has the first down with a couple of yards to spare. Matt Finley over there to make the tackle for Calgary.
Gain of 15 yards on the play.
Well, Matt Finley's one of those active linebackers. I drafted him way back in 1985. #1 draft choice out of Eastern Michigan, and he has certainly played well.
Another Galat stroke of genius.
Another one. But look at Finley. Watch him drop back. Crefo just setting down in the middle. That's a set down pass. And they come over and converge on him. He can fall for 5 yards, Crefo.
1st and 10 Bombers. This is Mims picking his spots. And Mims forced out of bounds just shy of the Stampeders' 20-yard line. Good run by Robert Mims. We said at the beginning of the telecast the Bombers were going to do anything offensively. They had to establish the running game of Mims.
Well, Mims is one of those guys that can run to daylight. If you get a pinch inside, which is what the defense did, they played it inside, he'll bounce it out without losing one step.
A 23-yard pickup on that last run by Robert Mims, who comes into tonight's game the third leading rusher in the CFL behind Tracy Ham and Reggie Taylor of the Edmonton Eskimos.
He's averaging about 6 yards a carry. He was the first guy on the field tonight. He came out and studied the whole field. He was looking around everywhere. And now what Winnipeg has to do is make sure they get the ball in the end zone. Their efficiency down inside here hasn't been all that great.
1st and 10 from the 20 for the Bombers. Burgess airs it out. He's got Tuttle open. Touchdown! Perfect strike. Burgess to Tuttle.
Burgess has to place Larry Tuttle on the touchdown.
Well, Burgess is certainly answering his critics tonight. There's been a lot of people that have been telling everyone Tom Burgess isn't getting the job done, but I think Burgess has something tonight that he hasn't had before. He's got some receivers running precise patterns. This is a fine route run by Perry Tuttle. Perry broke on a post corner, but what attracted the attention was Eric Streeter on the outside, had two defenders coming up on him, so the corner had to come up and respect the wide receiver. Perry Tuttle was wide open. Nice job, Perry Tuttle.
And as usual, the convert attempt from Kennard is good, as Perry Tuttle accepts congratulations from assistant coach John Payne.
Over 231 prizes, valued in excess
That's
of
worth another look.
Well, Burgess sets up, but he isn't entirely in there all alone. Warnett came in and tried to give him that rag doll again, tried to ring his bell. Watch Warnett come in and reach around and just give him a big hug and a kiss. I mean, it has to pay the price there to be a quarterback. But, hey, Tuttle's smiling. Those receivers can go down and catch the ball. But Tuttle's, he's done a good job tonight, but I think Burgess is really looking sharp.
Jenkins and Hopkins
5 plays, 75 yards, and only took him 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And they capped it off with a 20-yard strike from Burgess to Tuttle.
Kickoff duties for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Early in the opening quarter, Burgess connecting with Thompson. Now he's hit Tuttle. The end result, 14-4 lead for the Bombers over the undefeated Stampeders. And the Stampeders once again will get good field position. They'll skirmish at the 43-yard line. Keeban returning that kickoff. Is a 40-yard kick and an 8-yard return.
Bob Evans on the tackle for the Bombers.
And here's the man of the hour on the phone for the Bombers.
He said, could we get somebody to pick up that guy that hits me after I throw the ball every play? Could we, please?
I've got a feeling he'll take it as long as the end result is a touchdown pass.
Well, I'm sure he'd give that up anytime. A touchdown for a hit.
We're in the dying seconds of the opening quarter. Danny Barrett puts it up complete to Mark Guy. Guy has the first down and a couple of extra yards as he crosses the midfield stripe and gets into Bomber territory. Rod Hill, the veteran, is there to greet him.
That's why Wally Buono doesn't have to worry about his running game all that much, because Barrett can zing that ball to the outside receiver and get 10 yards. Come on, man, we got all day. Let's go. Come on.
1st and 10, Stampeders. Barrett over the middle, complete. Bobby Evans defending on the play.
Well, it's a mismatch. Pitts is a big, tall receiver, and that ball just thrown perfectly on his hip. And the nice thing about a ball thrown on your hip is that you can run after you put that ball in your hands, you can take off running. You don't have to change stride.
Off to a good start, 43 yards already. Barrett to put it up again. And that time he was looking for Keeban Jenkins out of the backfield, and it's incomplete. The Bombers on top of the undefeated Stampeders, 14-4. Right for CFL action here in the Foothills City, where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are leading the undefeated Calgary Stampeders 14-4. You've just joined us. I'm Steve Armitage, along with Joe Galat in the booth. Scott Oak is patrolling the grassy sidelines down at field level. Stampeders are 2nd and 10 from the Bombers' 38.
Calgary said they're not really that kind of a team. They're not going to be doing a lot of running. Both teams say they're blue-collar, lunch bucket teams, but both of them have a lot of skilled people.
McLaughlin tries the field goal, and this one is wide. That coming from the 45, and again, the Bombers concede the single point. They'll give them those all night long. That makes it 14-5 favor Bombers.
Well, Steve, you were a former kicker, and you said that straight-on kickers very rarely hook it. That looked like a hook to me.
After each Stampeder home game, members of the media will select the Sport of the Outstanding
Or is
Player
that a
of the Game
slice?
award. One player from
We'll call
each
that
of
a
the
slice.
offense, defense, and special teams.
Well, Darryl
will
Rogers
receive
is
gift
glad it was a
certificates from the
slice.
Elephant and
I
Castle
think his
and
team's
Fort
looking a
OB.
lot sharper tonight offensively, and I think the secret is the ground game's going, and that's what Wally Buono wants to do. You got to control the ground game on Winnipeg, or you'll never get your pass rush cranked up.
Second quarter just nicely underway. 1st and 10 Bombers. They give to Mims. Mims does a little dancing, gets outside, picks up a yard or two, stopped at the 41-yard line.
By Will Johnson.
Will Johnson in to make the stop.
Gained 2 yards on the play.
One of the things that a defensive man has to do is to shed the blocker, just push him out of the way. That's what Johnson did in time to make the play for a 2-yard gain. That's good. Now they're in 2nd and long. They can rush the passer.
Spot the ball just shy of the 41-yard line. Burgess under pressure, and that time brought down neatly by Dwan Brandon. Brandon in hot pursuit of Burgess right from the opening snap.
Well, Brandon came right through, and what Brandon knew that he was going to get done is he's going to run him down from behind, because Burgess had to look for a receiver, and he had to pull up sooner or later. Brandon's coming through. He reached out and put the lasso on him. Watch him. He knows that Burgess has to cock that arm to get the ball downfield. Nice play by the young linebacker.
And Bland back to Reed.
That makes it 3rd and 18.
Control the running game, and you have a chance.
A punting situation for Cameron and the Bombers. See if that new shoe works its magic. It does. It's a good punt. Mark Guy at the 26. Still on his feet. Tremendous balance from Mark Guy. Finally brought down at the 36-37-yard line.
Eddie Taylor on the tackle for the Winnipeg Blue
A
Bombers.
52-yard punt from Bob Cameron, above his average, and a 7-yard return from Mark Guy.
Brandon Rogers is always downfield on special teams, and Calgary is always getting good punt returns. They had Derek Crawford, one of the best punt returners in the business. He went down with an injury. They had Pee Wee Smith, one of the best punt returners around. He went down with an injury.
Les Brown, the injured Bomber, making his way off the field, the 8-year pro from Colorado State. 1st and 10 Stampeders from their own 34. Whistles blow to stop play. This is the 146th meeting between these two teams since 1946. Winnipeg lead the series 75-70. This is McVeigh, big hole. McVeigh crosses the 45-yard line, runs into Darrell Sampson.
Gain of 11 yards, the Stampeder first down.
Now McVeigh came up through the middle, and what he did is he ran right through a couple people, but he's getting a good surge by his front offensive line, and Kevan Jenkins came in and bumped off a few backers. That's a big pickup.
1st and 10 stands from the 45. A flag is down. In and out of the arms of Pitts. Bobby Evans was covering on the play for the Bombers and doing a good job in tying up Pitts.
Or did he ever?
Illegal procedure against the Stampeders. Here's the call from George Black.
Procedure, Calgary number 88. Penalties declined. 2nd down.
That was a slot back. He tried to move before the ball was snapped. He wanted to get a little head start. Although he did try to come back, but to no avail.
2nd and 10 stands. Barrett puts it up on a great catch on the sidelines by Beals. If they're going to rule it a catch, I believe they do. He just has the first down by about the length of the football. They may want to measure this one. It's that close. But what a great effort by Beals to come back to the ball and make the catch.
Well, Beals made a super concentrated effort to get the football, but Barrett was hit by Michael Gray as he threw it. So that's 2 good plays on one play. That's an excellent job of concentration. Good job of delivery by Barrett.
1st and 10, Stamps from the 54-yard line of the Bombers. Barrett throwing long, incomplete.
Barrett pass.
He was looking for Bland,
incomplete.
but it was over his head. Les Brown doing a good job defending on the play.
Flag is down. We'll see what the call is.
Major foul, roughing the passer, 54 Winnipeg. 1st down.
They're frustrating. Barrett is frustrating the defense because he's rolling out. But that's clearly a late hit. I mean, what are you going to do here?
Steve Grant, the guilty party. Kevan Jenkins picks up 3 yards around the right side.
Sampson on the tackle, gain of 2 yards. 2nd down.
11:03 to play, 2nd quarter. Bomber leading the Stampeders 14-5.
Danny Barrett's doing a good job of changing up what he's given the defensive line look. I mean, he's sprinting out, then he'll drop back, then he'll run a play. He's giving them a different look every time.
2nd and 8 Stampeders from the 37-yard line of Winnipeg. Barrett puts it up, looking for Pitts. Complete. Touchdown!
It's a great play. Danny Barrett knew that he was going to get a 3-man drop out and pick up. But watch Pitts make his break to the outside. He sold him on the post, broke to the outside, and he had to adjust to that football. He had to come back and reach back for that football, and he played it perfectly.
That combination has been an outstanding one all season long for the Stampeders. Danny Barrett to Alan Pitts. That time a 38-yard strike for the Stampeders' first major score. McLaughlin puts it through. We now have a 2-point difference. Bombers on top of the Stampeders by 2. The Stampeders' Alan Pitts enjoying another productive season, his 2nd in the league. He now has 8 touchdowns receiving and tops in the CFL in that department.
And what a smooth athlete he is. Yesterday, wearing those tights, he looked like a ballerina dancer. And watch him dance on this play. Perfect break to the ball, but he came back and put that left shoulder to open it up and take the football. He is a smooth, solid, and Danny Barrett is very happy that he's got one of those receivers out there. Number 1, he means this is a lot more fun than playing slot back.
And that was the 12th TD pass of the season for Danny Barrett. The kickoff. Thompson does well to hang on to the ball after that tremendous hit. Now let's go down the sidelines and join Scott Oak.
Steve, in the old days, receivers used to catch the ball with bare hands. Now you can't find a receiver who doesn't wear gloves. These are the gloves that the league's top receiver, Alan Pitts, had on a moment ago when he caught that touchdown pass that pulled the Stampeders to within 2. They've got tactified leather on the palms and on the fingers. Really help you hold on to the ball. But then again, no amount of gloves will help you if you got no stinking coordination, Steve.
That's the bottom line, Scott. Tactified leather. I love it. Robert Mims, good effort. Gets up to the 37-yard line. Zizakovic there to make the stop for the Stampeders.
He said tactified leather, didn't he?
He did say tactified leather.
He's an amazing guy.
6 plays, covered 76 yards, took him just over 2 minutes. And it was capped on a Barrett pass to Pitts, covering 38 yards. And we have got ourselves a ball game as we knew we would. These two teams have been very close in their games over the recent years. Burgess, complete to Thompson. Thompson just shy of the first down. Junior Thurman covering for the Stampeders.
And Odom, gain of 5 yards on the play.
Darryl Rogers said he wanted to get Thompson in the football game because of his return ability and because of his ability to run down the field, catch some deep passes, and I think you're going to see that more often tonight than we have. We're going to see Thompson deep.
Thompson playing in place of Slick Willis. Another reason that they like this youngster. out of a junior college in California as he makes the circus-like catches along with that outstanding speed. 1st and 10, Bombers in the 43. Burgess airs this one out. He's going for the home run. It falls incomplete. He was looking for Streeter down the right side. Ron Hopkins was covering deep for the Stampeders.
Wow, I'll tell you, Kent Warnock came in there.
2nd down, Winnipeg.
He did a twist stunt, and he came back outside around on an edge stunt, and he just knocked him right down on the ground. I mean, they got to do something about Warnock. Burgess is going to get on the phone soon and check in with the operator.
You'd think that Tom Burgess would have it figured out. Every time he's attempted to pass long, he has taken a beating.
He's paid the price. Of course, he's had 2 touchdowns, so maybe he feels it's worth the price.
2nd and 10, Bombers from the 43. Again, Burgess airs it out. And again, it's incomplete. He was looking for Thompson that time down the left sidelines, but there were 2 Stampeders covering on the play. Junior Thurman and Greg Peterson.
3rd down, Bombers.
Well, Joe Rogers wants to get good 2nd down plays, and when it's 2nd and 10, it's a little bit tougher. One of the things that kept Warnock out of the play this time was 2 people. We got Lyle Bauer in there and David Black. They're saying, hey, you're not going to hurt our quarterback this time.
Cameron to punt.
Bob Cameron getting set to punt for the Bombers. Above his average tonight by a couple of yards. Again, that shoe must be working. This is Mark Guy. He's at the 20. 25. And he crosses the 30-yard line where the Stampeders will once again have pretty good field position. The Stampeders trail by 2, 14-12, 8:31 to play. You're going to be very busy, and once again, live at the half is going to be making news with the interview with Don Matthews and Al Ford, the new head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We wish him luck. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 30-yard line. Barrett, complete. I don't think they gained much more than a yard. Kevan Jenkins took the ball at the line of scrimmage. May have fallen about a half a yard, but that's it.
They want to try to get they want Kevan Jenkins on a linebacker, and they're not getting it when they get on 1st down. They're getting zone coverage, so they're just being able to come up and cover. But they'd like to get him downfield on battle, one-on-one.
2nd and 10, Barrett, complete. And again, he goes to the wide receivers. Carl Bland.
First down. Bobby Evans on the coverage for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Danny Barrett makes that just a short 3-step drop, and he sets and throws that football, delivers it right on time. But what a nice catch. Carl Bland had to get up in the air and get a piece of it.
1st and 10 from the 47, and that was intended for Beals, incomplete.
Sean Beals, incomplete. Sampson on the coverage, 2nd down, Stampeders.
Can't complete them all, Danny.
They're expecting more blitzing. They're expecting a lot more blitzing from Winnipeg, and they're not getting it. So I think Danny's going to change his game plan a little bit here on 1st down.
That's one thing the Bombers haven't done too much of this season is blitz, but with all those key injuries, no wonder. Barrett over the middle, complete to Pitts. Pitts has the 1st down with yards to spare. Crosses the 45-yard line of the Bombers.
There's a veteran quarterback. When you see Pitts making his route, but Danny Barrett waits till he gets between the trees. He zings that football between 2 linebackers. That's not easy for a quarterback to anticipate, but he knew what Pitts was doing.
1st and 10, Stampeders. Good read by the Bombers defense in getting to Kevan Jenkins. Alfred Payton getting in there very, very quickly for the Bombers.
Alfred Payton on the
Alfred's having a good ball game, and he was really playing against air that time. Nobody blocked him. So he came in and just put the hit on Jenkins, but weak side, they're going to have somebody pick up that weak side backer if they're going to run a running play.
Another 100-yard game for Alan Pitts. You know he's going to add to that total before this night's over. Barrett rolling right, 2nd and 12. And he tried to find Beals. It goes incomplete. Darrell Sampson covering on the play for the Bombers.
Incomplete.
I think you got to credit Michael Gray for giving him some pass rush on there as well.
3rd down, Stampeders.
They actually brought their inside receiver in, and they blocked on the backside, but it just didn't seem to help Barrett because he was getting pressure from both sides. Beals makes a nice cut to the outside, but the ball is bouncing, and the bounce pass only counts in basketball.
So that brings on Matic, the punter. It's a good one away, taken by Thompson. At the 10, cuts it up, and he gets out to the 25-yard line. A flag is down at the 13-yard line.
19 yards on the play. Finger on
The Bombers on top of the undefeated Stampeders by 2. There's the Bombers' Craig Harrison. His illegal block has put the Bombers in a bit of a hole when they come out on offense, and this is the block.
Yeah, that's very close. The head has to be in front. Actually, you're allowed to block on the side. I'm not sure that that was the play that one of the officials called. Many times they'll just blame whoever's closest, but there was a clip on the play. Somebody sailed over across the back of one of the defenders coming downfield. Both these teams are good on special teams. Both of them really emphasize their kicking game and their returning game, and that was the message Darryl Rogers was trying to give to his team when he brought back Larry Thompson, because Thompson, you know, early in the year has made some great kick returns.
And Darryl Rogers said to us yesterday, if you can't play special teams for me, you can't play for this team. And Wally Bono says the same thing. They both emphasize special teams, as you pointed out. 1st and 10 Bombers from their own 6. They lead by 2, 14-12. Mims up to about the 12 or 13-yard line.
The ball carrier.
Mims
Odom on the play.
He looks so strong when he comes up through there. I mean, this is not a fancy play, and everybody knows it's going to be a run. They're down on their own goal line, but Mims comes through there, and he keeps his shoulders parallel to his goal line, and he always comes forward and makes extra yards.
The Bombers need 4 yards to keep the drive alive. Burgess over the middle, complete. The big target, Grifo. And he's out at the 35-yard line. First down with about 17, 18 yards to spare.
I haven't seen Burgess look as sharp this year. I think he's looked really sharp, and I think what might have helped him this time is that he's throwing the football on the money, and he's throwing it quick, because if he doesn't, Mr. Warnock's there to say hello.
A 23-yard gain for the Bombers. It gives them 1st and 10 from their own 35. 4:56 till halftime. Bombers lead by 2, 14-12. This is Mims. This time there is no running room. Will Johnson, as he's done all night for Calgary, leading the way.
Will Johnson's playing the weak side end, and that's different than what it was last year. Last year he was playing the strong side. But Mims has no place to go. Fenley comes up, turns the play back into Will Johnson, and he's smothered. Will Johnson playing the weak side is much more effective, and they got Walter Ballard out on the strong side, the rush end, and he's much more effective. So it was a good move by Calgary in the offseason.
2nd and 11 Bombers. Time for Burgess. Thompson is open. Thompson still on his feet. Good effort by Thompson. Gets down to the 47, 48-yard line of the Stampeders. Kenton Leonard finally brings him down. What a great effort from this young man from the junior college in California.
Well, Burgess comes back knowing that he's got a crossing route, and he needs a little bit of time to get him back over the middle. And that wasn't a great pass, but he put it right where his receiver was going to be, and he hung him right in there. And a nice job of running after he caught the football by Larry Thompson.
They spot the ball at the 48-yard line of the Stampeders, where it is now 1st and 10 Bombers. Burgess, again with time, airs one out, looking for Thompson, and that one sails over his head and into the end zone, being covered there by Junior Thurman this time.
Intended for Thompson. Junior Thurman on the coverage, incomplete.
Well, they're taking turns now. Zizakovic was right in on him, and it was like an alligator fighting on this guy. I mean, Burgess is wondering where they're coming from now. One guy hits me around the neck, the other guy hits me around the legs. Burgess is checking to see if he's got both knees, because he took a real shot by Sriko Zizakovic. He right in and took him right below the knees.
Clock is running, 3:19 till halftime. Bombers lead 14-12. They have the ball, 2nd and 10 from the Stamps 48. Burgess to Hudson, and Hudson does not have the first down. Have to get down inside the 40-yard line
after a gain of 6 yards on
for the first down. Brandon, good pressure on Burgess.
Well, Ballard came right in, and they didn't have anybody to block him on a screen pass. It's excellent pressure, and they're only rushing 4 people by Calgary.
Thank you, Scott. A very debonair, suave looking.
I'll bet he didn't wear gloves.
Big punt from Bob Kammer. Taken by Hopkins in the end zone. Has a little trouble hanging on, but does come up with the ball. Concedes the single point. And the Bombers increase their lead to a field goal, 15-12.
They're without that shoe, the bat shoe.
Jesse, I hope you're enjoying the game.
So called by Joe Galat. 1st and 10, Stampeders from their own 35. Lots of time for Barrett. In and out of the arms of Mark Guy. He committed the cardinal sin of a receiver. He let it hit his chest instead of taking the ball with his hands.
Well, if anybody out there is a receiver, plays flag football, you never take your eyes off the football until it hits your hands. And you can see what he did. Watch Guy, the ball is in he took his eyes off, looked upfield, and you don't know, it jumps in that last second. You don't know where it's going to be. Look at the ball into your hands.
2nd and 10, Stamps. Almost picked off, but it is complete to Pitts, and he does have the first down. Les Brown almost had to make that land with the reception.
Well, if you catch the ball at the same time, both people catch the ball at the same time, the offense gets it. But what happens so frequently is an offensive guy's a little bit more placid, and the defensive guy will rip it out of his hands, but both of them fought for it, therefore it goes to the offense.
Now 1st and 10, Calgary from the 47. Barrett, tremendous pressure, hit, loose ball, McVay picks it up. And McVay dropped at the 46-yard line. Elfrid Payton with the hit on Danny Barrett. Barrett didn't see him coming from the blind side. What a hit.
Well, that's the worst nightmare for a quarterback. You don't want anybody to hit you from the back side. And he's got more on him, and there was a move to the outside, and wow.
2nd and 10. This time it is complete to Pitts at the 50. That's the first down with about 3 yards to spare. Bobby Evans with the tackle on Pitts.
That's a football play by Barrett. He stood right in there. There's only one place to put the football, man coverage. He put it in there. The play was perfectly covered, but it was a great catch, good throw.
We've got a good one going here. Bombers lead 15-12. 1st and 10. That time they intended for McVay, but it's incomplete.
Intended for McVay, incomplete.
One of the things they expected Pitts to receive was a lot of double coverage. Now, they haven't done it, at least side-by-side double coverage on a man-to-man. What they're doing is over-the-top double coverage. The free safety's looking for Pitts. They expected to see more pinch on Pitts.
2nd and 10. Barrett complete to Sean Beals.
Barrett's pass complete to
May
Sean
not have the
Beals,
first
tackled by
down, maybe
Benson.
about a yard and a half, 2 yards short. Pitts moving into first place by a single yard in front of the Lions' Ray Alexander. 820 yards to 821. And as you might expect, the Stampeders are going to go for it. They are about 2.5, 3 yards short. They need to get to the 40-yard line of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to keep the drive alive. 1:49 to play in the quarter. Bombers leading 15-12.
Coach Buono's talking to Danny Barrett right now, and he's telling him, look, we got 3 yards to go. They're giving us a lot of man-to-man coverage. Let's look for the backs coming out of the backfield on a linebacker. Let's get the mismatch. They've been looking for that all day, getting the mismatch, man-to-man, linebacker on running back.
Let's go to Scott.
Steve, watching the game in the stands at McMahon Stadium tonight as a man who hopes to own the Stampeders in a couple of days, a couple of weeks at the outside. Larry Rickman has made a $3.5 million offer to purchase the team, and it could be that perhaps after Labor Day he'll be watching the games at McMahon from the owner's box if all goes well. Negotiations are at the serious stage. All parties refusing to comment right now. Steve?
Thank you, Scott. They set up for the field goal, but they are going to go for it. All sorts of flags down as Barrett is brought down at the 50-yard line. They set up for a Mark McLaughlin field goal and then decided to go for it just before the snap of the ball. There may have been early action before the snap. George Black and his officiating crew conferring. Here's the call.
They're showing that they're going to go with a field goal formation, but then at the last minute they send people out and Barrett comes out to the outside. But what happens, they called for not being stationary for the full second. Good concept because they did catch them on alert.
Procedure. Calgary number 34, before the ball was snapped, third down repeated.
You have to have that 1 second pause before the ball is snapped. McVay just didn't get moved quick enough.
So the gamble for Wally Buono and the Stampeders fails. They're now punting, but a flag is down as Brent Maddich gets a good one away. Taken by Streeter. Another flag is down. Streeter crosses the 15-yard line, but we'll have to straighten out these flags. One at the line of scrimmage and one downfield at the 20-yard line.
On the tackle for the Stampeders. Flag.
Well, it's a double penalty, and I think down here we got an offside by alignment because they threw the flag just as the ball was being snapped. Nobody jumped. It was just the way they lined up on the wide receivers of Calgary. And they had well, the option goes to Calgary. He's talking to the Calgary captain. So maybe both penalties were against Winnipeg. The offside was clearly against Winnipeg.
1:35 till halftime. Bombers lead 15-12.
Well, that'll take them back to where they faked the field goal. Maybe they'll go for it on 3rd and 3 again.
Here's the call.
Have offside against Winnipeg, no yards against Calgary, third down repeated.
So for the third time, we're going to do it again. Remember the first time they faked the field goal, then they had the punt. So now they're going to punt again. This time, Maddich will get the kick away from his own 40-yard line.
Why was he talking to Calgary's captain if they had no yards?
Maybe he wanted an explanation. He's entitled to that as a captain. Streeter at the 30. Cuts it inside. Gets up to the 44-yard line, where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will have good field position for what could be the final drive of the game. 27 remaining till halftime.
Well, Burgess, I'm sure, would like to have a little better protection. There's one way to get better protection. That's to give the ball to Robert Mims. He's been hit more times. I think he's had about 10 knockdowns. He's been knocked down at least 10 times in this first half. So maybe if you give the ball to Mims, you can get out of there alive for a play or two.
They're at the 44. 1st and 10, Winnipeg. Mims. And Mims picks up 5 or 6 yards before Walter Ballard brings him down.
Well, Woody Hayes used to talk about that particular play, and what he used to say is the back has to run like water falling off a log, and this is what Mims does, except Warnick gets those hands out, tries to shed the blocker, but as you know, David Black threw him down, put him on the ground. That's for hitting my quarterback, he said.
1:04 till halftime. 2nd and 5, Winnipeg. Purchase goes long, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Perry Tuttle on the right side. Another flag is down at the 35-yard line.
Leonard and Peterson on the coverage. There's a flag.
Tuttle coming down the field. He knows he's going to catch some attention. And Peterson came right over top of him, so there's not much of a chance for the catch. He'd have had to drop it in the bucket in order for Tuttle to catch that football.
But that's not what the flag is all about. The flag is thrown at the 35-yard line of the Bombers.
Holding, Winnipeg number 51. Decline, third down.
David Black called on the holding.
And the amazing thing is, Calgary's gotten away with rushing 4 people and they're getting pressure. They're knocking the quarterback down, and they're getting some holding calls.
And Calgary will get the ball back. Bob Cameron punting for Winnipeg. Mark Guy at the 20. And he gets up just shy of the 25-yard line, where the Stampeders will scrimmage first and 10 with 48 seconds remaining till halftime. A 46-yard punt from Cameron, who continues to punt well, and a 9-yard return for Mark Guy as Danny Barrett leads the offense onto the field. Barrett enjoying another productive night, already over 200 yards passing and 1 touchdown. First and 10 Stamps on the 24. McVay on the 24. McVay. He crosses the 30-yard line.
The ball carrier, Greg Battle, is the tackle.
Jerome Reinhardt battled in there to make the stop for Winnipeg.
Well, you know, Calgary's got one of those lines that has been around for a long, long time. And they know they would like to get this thing going. Lloyd Fairbanks has played 246 consecutive games. There's only one guy that's played more than him.
Second and 4 Stamps. And again, give to McVay. And I don't believe he has the first down. Reinhardt there to make the stop.
Reinhardt.
Don't forget, live at the half, we'll be going to Regina, where Scott Oak will be talking to Al Ford of the Saskatchewan Roughriders and their new head coach, Don Matthews.
The one guy that's played more games than Lloyd Fairbanks, active, guess who? Ronnie Lancaster, 288 ball games. So Lloyd doesn't look much like a quarterback, and he doesn't look much like Ron Lancaster. But there he is. His wife, Jackie, has 6 children waiting at home for him. He said, I got to keep playing. I got to support my family. And he plays well. I remember him on Keith Gary.
17 years in the CFL for Lloyd Fairbanks.
He knocked Keith Gary out of the CFL, laid him out in a ball game on a peel block.
20 seconds till halftime, 3rd and 1. Barrett keeps on the quarterback sneak, and they should have the first down.
2 yards on the play.
You know, Wally Buono's a relaxed coach. When any coach gets into that 3rd down situation, you get a little tense because anything can happen on the exchange from the center to the quarterback. And when they're in position, they could get a field goal. You see Wally biting his nails there a little bit. Let's get this thing going now. Let's get moving.
We asked Wally yesterday if he was looking ahead to the Labor Day game against the Edmonton Eskimos, the traditional Battle of Alberta. He said, no, we're playing them one at a time. We have to. Such is the pressure of being undefeated. This is McVay. And McVay comes up just short of the 45-yard line. Albert Williams there to bring him down. And the time has run out. And the Bombers go into the dressing room, leading the Stamps by 3, 15-12. History. This is now CFL action. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers kicking off to the undefeated Calgary Stampeders to get the second half underway. The Bombers leading 15-12. This is Ron Hopkins. Hopkins brought down at the 40-yard line. A 55-yard kick and a 20-yard return for Ron Hopkins. A look at the halftime statistics.
20 yards on the return. There is a flag.
Well, we got a close ball game. Of course, that rushing situation, you know, Calgary doesn't really want to rush with the football. They want to dominate with their passing game and their quick throws. So when you expect Calgary, probably 12 rushes for Calgary is a lot and a half.
Wally Buono said yesterday his team was a finesse team. They would much prefer to put the ball in the air than grind it out on the ground. And that's exactly what they have done tonight, preferred by injuries, especially on defense. The Stampeders from the 25, Keevan Jenkins, and he crosses the line of scrimmage.
No gain on the play.
And no gain for Keevan Jenkins, the former BC Lion.
Second down.
I think Danny Barrett feels just as well because he rolled out on that thing, and what he wants to do is get his ball to those slot backs, and he's got it pretty good distribution, but he's primarily concentrating on slot backs, and that's because of one guy, Alan Pitts.
With no gain from Keevan, they'll do it again. 2nd and 10 from the 25. Barrett. And that time he was looking for Beals down the right sidelines. Incomplete over the head of Beals.
Has intended for Beals, incomplete.
Good coverage on the Bombers, taking the inside away and giving Beals the sidelines, but he would have had to have been walking a tightrope to pull that one in.
Well, that was perfect coverage. He was double teamed. There was no place for the ball to be, but out of bounds, and that's where it went.
Cameron has the edge in the punting matchup, and Maddish just got that one away, and he gets a beauty. Thompson at the 40. Looking for running room on the outside. Needs a block. Doesn't get it. Gets up just shy of the 50-yard line. Darrell Hall is there to make the stop.
Larry Thompson on the return.
Both of these teams have such exciting punt returners and kick returners, and you can see the skills develop. They do a good job. Everybody's working on their blocking.
Going to the Calgary Stampeders to encourage you to drink.
They wanted to set up.
You know your limit.
They wanted to set up the return, and you can see what a good play that was. Anthony took a good shot.
A major shot. 1st and 10, Bombers from the 49. Mims crosses the 50-yard line. They'll probably mark it around the 51.
Mims, the ball carrier, tackled by Matt Finley.
Makes the stop for the
Stampeders. 1 yard
Stampeders.
on the play.
Finley, 6'2", 225 pounds, 6-year veteran out of Eastern Michigan. This is how the Bombers have distributed the ball on offense.
That's exactly what Darryl Rogers said yesterday. Let's get the ball to the wideouts. We've only been throwing to our slots so far. We want to get the ball to our wideouts, and he's done it tonight.
2nd and 9, Bombers from the 50. Burgess, complete to Thompson. Thompson shy of the first down. Junior Thurman puts the stop on Thompson.
They're really happy with the play of Junior Thurman. There they were in the man coverage. Junior gave him enough of a cushion that he knew he could react and still come up and not let him make the first down. Junior Thurman made some big plays last week. A caused fumble, a touchdown. Did you like the way he slid across the goal line last week? This guy's an athlete.
Be the envy of the Toronto Blue Jays with the slide like that. Bob Cameron into punt. Mark Guy has been doing most of the returning for Calgary. Good punt. This time it goes to Bland. At the 20. Gets up to the 24-yard line before he's stopped by Bobby Evans. Just before that timeout, Alfred Payton guilty of a face mask violation, and here it is.
Clatney's going down the field, and you can see they're jostling each other. This is a war, man-on-man war going all the way down the field, and then all of a sudden, reach up, grab the bucket by the handle, and pull it down. If you don't think it's tough on special teams, think of 12 people down there, 65 yards wide, and they're after one person, and that one person has the ball about 50 yards up in the air. He doesn't have time to call a committee meeting.
And a tip from the booth to Mo Waters, our ISO director. Great job in coming up with that, Mo. 1st and 10, Stampeders from the 39. Barrett, complete to McVeigh. McVeigh loses the ball, but I think Calgary have recovered. The first indication is they have. Great battle with the hit.
Gain of 13 yards.
Andy McVeigh.
Okay, let's go now to Scotto.
Recovered by 10 more.
Well, what a devastating year it's been for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with respect to injuries. The list knows no bounds. 5 starters on defense out coming into this game. Make it 6 now as safety Michael Allen is on the bench with his left ankle wrapped in ice, and he's in a lot of pain. They're worried he might have a cracked bone. Steve, he will not be back tonight.
And we'll see if the Stampeders pick on Kyle Hall, his replacement.
Barrett pass intended for Beals, incomplete. Sampson on the coverage.
There's Michael Allen with his foot.
They'll miss Michael Allen on the coverage teams because he is one of those guys that does a good job on coverage. He plays great at the free safety position, but his kicking team, special teams contributions are equal. 2/3 of the game, they're going to be missing this guy.
Following that incompleted pass is now 2nd and 10 for the Stamps from the 53-yard line. Barrett pumps once, trying to spring his receiver free, and he completes it. Carl Bland, and I have to believe that that little pump fake by Barrett may have set that up.
Well, there's no question, Steve, that did set it up because he got the short man biting short, and they separated the two defenders. They were actually going to try to pick him up, double team, but when he pumped the fake, you can see the short receiver, the defender stopped, and what a nice reception. That was he had to come back and fight for the ball and bring it back away from the defender. That Bland is quite a ball player.
A 43-yard gain for the Stampeders. They're now 1st and 10 from the Bombers' 14. Barrett forced out of bounds and onto the natural turf that surrounds the playing surface, the artificial playing surface here at McMahon Stadium. I'm sure that natural turf much appreciated by Danny Barrett in a case like that.
Well, that natural grass feels a little better than the turf does, but here's a guy, Barrett, that doesn't run the ball all that much, but when he does, he makes yards, he outruns people. Peyton came in, didn't even have a shot at him. Barrett took it out around him, and Danny Barrett's run the ball only about, 20 times this year, but he's always effective.
David Sapunjas is into the game for the Stamps. Sean Beals is out. It's 2nd and 8. Stampeders from the Bombers' 12-yard line. Barrett over the middle, complete. A wide open Key Van Jenkins. Nobody within 5 yards of Key Van Jenkins. That's one of his easier TDs.
Let me get.
McLaughlin with the point after, and the Stampeders go in front of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And takes it underneath the block of the linebacker, and it's just a dump off to the running back. Watch them pick the linebacker. There he is. Keevan takes the ball underneath him. It's like a screen, only they throw it over the middle. Excellent job of blocking and reception. That was an easy one. There's Danny.
And the 13th TD pass of the season for Danny Barrett.
While he's shaking his head, he knows what he wants. He wants touchdowns.
That was just the way he diagrammed the play in the dressing room. Worked to perfection. This is Thompson. And Thompson run out of bounds at the 34-yard line, where Winnipeg will take over 1st and 10. With 10:02 to play 3rd quarter. The Bombers now trail by 4, 19-15.
They had to work for that. They went all the way down the field. Only 4 plays, but that big reception certainly helped by Bland.
You notice most of the drives tonight taking just over 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to complete. Not using up a lot of time on the clock. 1st and 10 Bombers. Burgess complete to Streeter. And he's upended at the 43-yard line by Ron Hopkins.
9 yards, tackled by Ron
That could have been a pick play, but Hopkins played off of him until the ball was thrown, and then he broke up and made a good tackle. But the receivers crossing like that, oftentimes they'll pick each other off. They'll screen each other off, and they can get a big play out of it.
A gain of about 9 on the play, so the Bombers will need just over a yard for the 1st down. The ball's at the 48. And he should have the 1st down with about a half a yard to spare. He was knocked back 2 or 3 yards, but his forward motion certainly got him the 1st down.
Just like Coach Buono said, we're not a finesse. I mean, we're a finesse team. We're not a real tough, hard-nosed team. And they get a good surge, but there's long, lean people on the Calgary team, and then there's those short, tough squatty guys on the Winnipeg team, and they blow you back. They push you back pretty well.
They can push him back, but they can't stop him from picking up the first down. But the penalty is against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Objectionable conduct, Winnipeg number 22, first down.
That's Perry Tuttle, who is being called for objectionable conduct, and it nullifies the first down. It makes it first and 10 from the 35, but they would have had first down across the 40-yard line.
Now Darrell Rogers is saying, what did he say? And the referee says, I'm not allowed to repeat that kind of language.
Burgess complete to Tuttle, and Tuttle stopped short of getting to the 40. That'll be a pickup of 5. Mark Odom, the rookie linebacker, there to make the stop.
5 yards on the ball.
They're getting the pressure up front, 4 pass rushers. You see this Will Johnson jumping inside a lot. He'll take that inside gap, and they're really getting good pressure upfield. That leaves their backers, that leaves a lot of people back there to defend. 8 people can defend if 4 people can rush the passer.
2nd and 5, Bombers from their own 40-yard line. Burgess intending that for Thompson, and he got a piece of it, but he was unable to hang on. Junior Thurman covering on the play.
Broken up by Junior Thurman.
You want to make some big plays, you have a guy like Junior Thurman in your defensive secondary, because time and again on 2nd down and long yardage, Junior Thurman gets his defense off the field. And Darrell Rogers doesn't like that. He would like to keep his team on the field and get some drives going. He didn't like the petty call. A little petty call there Mr. Rogers isn't happy with.
Seen a few of those in his many years in football, in the NFL, U.S. college ranks, and now the CFL. This is Mark Guy. And Guy
42 yards
back to the 31-yard line. So when we come back, the Stampeders will have the ball. They lead. Welcome back with Joe Gallant. We're in the booth. Scott Oak is standing by on the sidelines. Winnipeg trailing Calgary after leading for much of the game. 19-15. 7:45 to play, 3rd quarter. The Stamps are 1st and 10 from their own 33. Barrett looking for Pitts, and it's incomplete. Now let's go down the sidelines, and Scott Oak.
Steve, his name is right up there on the Stampeders Wall of Fame. Ezzard Sugarfoot Anderson played in the 40s and 50s, has witnessed 5 decades of Stampeder football. And do you like, sir, what you're seeing in the 90s?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And we're going all the way, too. This ball club, the young ball club, has depth. And anytime you can keep winning with 3 or 4 star ball players on the sideline, it's a good sign.
Okay, Ezzard, thanks for your time. You're 71. You look like you could still play.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Steve.
A legend here in Calgary, standing next to our own legend, live at the half. Scott Oak along with Sugarfoot. On that play, Barrett went long, incomplete. So that'll set up a punting situation for the Stampeders and bring on Brent Maddich.
They actually got some double coverage on Pitts, was what they wanted, and Kyle Hall did a good job. He got in there and tied up Pitts, and they double covered on him. He couldn't get anything going.
Winnipeg getting closer to blocking the punt all the time. This is Thompson. And Thompson with a good second effort gets to the 58-yard line.
The return of 7
well, the
yards
exchange of kicks has certainly benefited Winnipeg, because now they're going to start on the 50-yard line. That's not bad field position.
Line gives you year-round action.
Considering the fact that Winnipeg, on average, start from their 36-yard line, the fact that they're up to the 50 is definitely an improvement.
Both teams really stress field position. Both of them are good special teams people. They both have good kickers. Field position means a lot. Where you start in a ball game usually dictates how well you score.
Takes a lot of pressure off the offense. This is Mims, and Mims trying to find some running room on the right side. Runs into Kent Warnock after picking up about a half a yard.
Wally Buono predicted that yesterday. He said Kent Warnock is really basically coming out of training camp. He's only had 3 games, and so this means it's training camp. Walby does a good job of shall we say, entertaining Will Johnson.
And Johnson pleading for holding, but he doesn't get the call. 2nd and 9 Bombers from the 50. Burgess going deep, nobody there, it's picked off. A flag is down as Craig Peterson continues to run around, finally forced out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Mark Odom and Kent Warnock getting in on Burgess, and the flag went down.
All for naught, I'm afraid. It looks like roughing the passer in that area, and that was one of the few times Calgary blitzed. They got the interception, however, they also got Laundry on the field. The flag is down. Let's hear what he has.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Calgary number 93, first down.
Well, I don't know what more Warnock could do to rough the passer than what he's been doing already, but let's take a look. He's been ringing the bell so far. Gee, I don't know. He missed him.
Well, if Warnock missed him, maybe Odom got him. Big break for the Bombers. They retain possession of the football.
Winnipeg Blue Bomber players taken up on the play.
The ball is moved down to the 45-yard line, where Winnipeg are now 1st and 10.
Ride the C-Train to Stampeder games to win a trip to the 1991 Grey Cup game in Winnipeg. Enter at either the Stampeder information booth.
I mean, that is the most difficult thing to do in football. The humanly most difficult thing to do is to snap the ball, hit somebody over you, while you make sure the quarterback gets the ball with your head down. I mean, you got to give a center a lot of credit. And if they live to be 33 years old, they're doing a good job. Happy birthday,
27,000 in attendance here tonight. 27,000. They'll be happy with that, I'm sure. 1st and 10, Winnipeg from the Stamps 45. Burgess. Complete to Hudson. Hudson
Burgess pass complete
down inside the 40-yard line. Brandon there to bring him down.
Calgary's doing some really effective things. They're making open field tackles, Steve. I don't think I've seen a team that's done so well on making open field tackles to prevent a team from running after they catch the ball. They're keeping them in 2nd down and 5, 2nd down and 4 when they get those passes out in open field.
This stadium redesigned for the Olympics seats 38,000. They've never sold it out for football. They're hoping to do that on Labor Day against the Eskimos, but they'll take the 27 tonight, I'm sure. Burgess is stopped by Will Johnson.
Well, that's a coverage sack. The defenders downfield certainly did their job because it gave the... Will Johnson's got to dance, boom, bang. Yes, sir. But, you know, he just shed his blocker. The coverage was so good, Burgess couldn't throw the ball. Look at him. He can't throw the football. Johnson just got rid of his blocker, made the sack. This is what you have to have as a pass rusher. Watch Johnson accelerate when he sees he's got the shot.
And that brings on Bob Cameron in a punting situation for the Bombers. Good high spiral. Mark Guy at the goal line. Guy gets out to the 4-yard line, so when the Stampeders take over on offense, they'll have to come out of a big hole.
And that certainly was a big play because the field goal was imminent. And had he not made the sack, they certainly had a chance to make a field goal. Way to go.
Statistic in any CFL season. 1st and 10 for the Stamps from their own 5. They give to the first man through the middle. And he picks up a yard or 2, no more. Leon Hatziano there to make the stop for the Bombers.
You have to be happy with Hatziano coming in to replace Nicholas. He did a good job. He's plugged up the middle really well. Even when McVay makes yardage, he's had to bounce it back to the outside. The middle has been taken care of by Leon.
Isn't this where you'd like to have a Robert Mims if you were the Calgary Stampeders, to get you out of the hole on the ground instead of putting it up, which is what Barrett has to do now. And that's picked off. Les Brown. And Brown down inside the 15-yard line. Big turnover caused by the Winnipeg defense. When we come back, the Bombers will have the ball They trail by. Fourth interception of the season for Les Brown, and it's a big one. It gives the Bombers 1st and 10 at the Stampeders 13.
Well, Danny Barrett wants to get the football out to his favorite receiver, Pitts, and Bland didn't drive his receiver or his defender back deep enough. If Bland drives Les Brown back out of there, he got a chance to get the ball without having the interception. So, you know, they had to suffer a little bit by having a young receiver in there, and Bland, had he been able to drive that thing deeper, they wouldn't have had the problem. But there again, that's field position. And Les Brown was opportunistic, got the football down in scoring position for them.
Les Brown and the Winnipeg defense have done their job. Now it's the Bombers offense turn to do their job. And this is one area in which the Bombers have really not been able to execute that well this season inside the 25, finishing off the drives. Let's see what they can do now. Burgess passing, looking for Streeter. It is incomplete.
Kind of a shifty changeup for Burgess because he sprinted to the short side of the field after showing both his backs set to the wide side. So that really caught the defense off guard. He had a chance for the reception. It just wasn't delivered inbounds. Now they have to throw. You got to wonder why they don't use the running back a little bit more when they're in that scoring position. Mims can make some yards for you.
Easy for us to second guess up here. It is 2nd and 10 for the Bombers. The ball at the 13-yard line of the Stampeders. Burgess passing over the middle. Complete to Streeter. Touchdown, Bombers!
Streeter saw what was coming above. What he wanted to do is to get underneath the block of his crossing receiver. Streeter turns, bends across the middle, and watch the nice block he gets right at the left of your screen. That pitch, I guess it's turnabout is fair play. That's how Kevan Jenkins scored his points. Crossing receivers.
And Trevor Kenner's point after is good. So once again, the Bombers take the lead 22-19. A seesaw battle here at McMahon. 19-17 the second game. Let's have a look at that one again.
Streeter comes shallow underneath, but he gets a really nice block coming over from Perry Tuttle, and it's a clean play. It's like the middle screen we talked about when Kevan Jenkins scored. You can come in there and pick off that coverage man. You get a nice play out of it. And Streeter's got good speed, deceptive speed. He's so smooth an athlete, you don't realize how fast he can be.
Remember the importance of a win for either team here tonight. 2 points would move Winnipeg to within 2 points of Toronto for the lead in the CFL East. And of course, a Calgary win would open up a 4-point lead over the Eskimos. If they lose, they remain 2 points in front of Ronnie Lancaster and company.
And neither of these teams are at 100% strength. They got a lot of players injured.
This is Hopkins. Good running by Hopkins, still going, and finally forced out of bounds at the 51-yard line. One of the great kick return men in the league, showing his stuff there. Now let's go down to Scotto.
Down Stampeders.
Well, Steve, the world's best athletes begin their quest. Belgian Grand Prix, that's all on Sports Weekend on Saturday.
That 42-yard return by Hopkins setting up 1st and 10 for the Stamps, and Barrett goes to work right away, completing to Sean Beals.
To Sean Beals, gain of 8 yards on the play.
Danny Barrett would like to make up for that interception that he's thrown. Only his second in about 260-some passes. Watch him put the ball down low so that it can't be intercepted.
And they give to the first man through the middle, McVeigh.
Gain of 4 yards. And a Stampeder first down.
And that will give the Stamps first down. Paul Randolph there to make the stop for the Bombers.
Winnipeg's tough up in the middle. They're not giving them much yardage in the middle.
Barrett, not much time, gets it away, looking for Pitts, in and out of the arms of Pitts, but a flag goes down behind the play at the 30-yard line.
Well, there's a couple ways to cover Pitts. I think Bobby Evans showed us one of them, but it doesn't look like it was legal.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 12. First down.
It's got to be frustrating, Steve. You got a guy 6'3.5" over you. You know, you're 5'9", and you're fighting with him for the football, and you're going to get the flag once in a while.
Bobby Evans, the guilty party. The pitch to Keevan Jenkins. Cuts it inside. Crosses the 35-yard line.
Keevan Jenkins, the ball
Brought down by Paul Randolph.
Second down, Stamp.
A gain of about 1.5 yards. Make it 2. 2nd and 8 for the Stampeders from the 34-yard line of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bombers lead 22-19. Last minute of the third quarter. Barrett under pressure, comes out of the pocket, puts his head down, crosses the 30-yard line, gets down to about the 28. Greg Battle is there to meet him, and it looks as if Barrett may be shaken up on the play.
Well, nobody wants to see that. Barrett did some nifty moving to get out away from that. When that head is too far down, he'll be back.
So the punter, Brent Maddich, will hold for this field goal attempt from Mark McLaughlin. Maddich holding, McLaughlin kicking. And it's a 35-yarder, and it's wide, and it goes through the end zone. So that will result in a single.
Punter is holding for him, and watch the ball. He's trying to get he didn't have to spin the laces, but he didn't really have the ball straight up. He didn't have it straight up and down, and that's really what Maddich was slapping the ground about. He didn't have a good hold.
1st and 10 Bombers. This is Mims, and Mims up across the 46-yard line. Now that's the kind of runner who gets you out of holes. Who can
gain of 11 yards.
Come through with the kind of running game when you need it in your own zone.
That's a vintage Winnipeg runner. You know, Willard Reeves, you look back in the past, the way they used to do it, and this guy can do it. This Mims is, you know, he's got 86 yards, but he hasn't had that many carries.
Another carry for Mims. That time he crosses the 50-yard line. Pick up a 3.
Gain of 3 yards on the play.
Kent Warnock there to make the stop for the Stampeders, who now trail the Bombers by 2 points as we go into the final. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the fourth quarter is just about to get underway. It is 2nd and 7 for the Bombers from their own 50-yard line. They lead by 2, 22-20. Burgess has time over the middle, complete. Let's go down to Scott Oak.
Burgess pass complete to Rod.
Well, Steve, on the Calgary bench, it's unclear as to whether the Stampeders starting quarterback, Danny Barrett, is going to be able to finish this game. He came off the field after losing that battle with the Bombers' Mike Gray, complaining about his back. It's tightened up a whole lot. They've got ice on it right now, and he will not go back in unless it loosens up a whole lot. Back to you, Steve.
Bad news for the Calgary Stampeders. Good news for the Bombers and their fans. The fact that Jones will have to take over at the quarterback position. 1st and 10 for the Bombers. The fake buys Burgess a little bit of time, and then he's unable to complete the pass. He was looking for Hudson.
Burgess pass hit by Ballard.
Maybe a little heat on Burgess after that.
There's been a lot of heat on him. They've been coming right in on the outside. What they're doing is giving a blitz. Everybody coming upfield. No room for Burgess. They're right in his face. Didn't work on the play. You can see the pressure coming right upfield. Outside blitz.
Back to the live action. 2nd and 10. Burgess under pressure. Running for his life. Outside, completes to Mims. Mims has the first down. Still on his feet. Inside the 35-yard line, gets down to the 32.
That's what we were talking about before, Steve. If Mims can catch that football like he did last year, he was one of the leading receiver last year. Get him in the open field, and with the moves he's got and power, that's saying something.
Through 3 quarters of play here at McMahon Stadium, the statistical story continues to get tighter.
I'd say just the turnover made the difference. You know, there's a couple missed field goals, but 2 turnovers probably makes that 4-pointer.
1st and 10 for the Bombers from the 32-yard line. Burgess passing over the middle, complete. This is Mims again. Mims down at the 5-yard line. Kenton Leonard writing him out of play. And what a job Mims has done for the Blue Bombers on the last 2 plays. Make that Perry tunnel this time. Mims the time before that.
That's called a hide pass. Come underneath his receiver. That really changes up on the zone coverage. He's just running around picket fences now. All the defenders have to change direction, and they force him out of bounds all the way on the opposite end of the field.
Stampeders remind you here, ticket stock from tonight's game can be used for a $4 discount on the purchase of a large pizza from any Boston pizza restaurant.
He just hides under that receiver to his inside, comes back underneath, and they have to react up, and it's a tough cut, tough angle to make for those linebackers. So the defenders have to come up. Ronnie Hopkins helped him out.
From Tokyo, Steve.
Thank you, Scott, and that's what the Bombers are thinking right now. Anything is possible, but they'd like a touchdown. They are first and goal to go. The ball is at the 5-yard line at the Calgary Stampeders. Burgess. Touchdown, Mims! Nobody got a hand on it. Big hole, and Mims went into the end zone untouched.
Mims came out. They're blocking here. They're getting a lead block, but watch Mims take that ball right on the seam. Nobody touches him. Excellent blocks, excellent lead blocks in there by the backs. Guard folding around, and Mims is untouched into the end zone for 6 points.
And Trevor Kenner splits the uprights, and that makes it 29-20 favor the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
There's the guy we talked about. Mims is a guy who can account for a lot of things on your football team. When you get the leading rusher that was your leading receiver and you get him back into the ballgame like they did tonight, they're a different offensive team. And look at the power that he runs with. His shoulders squared to the line. And if he falls, he's still going to fall over the goal line if you make a tackle. Well, Burgess has taken some hits tonight, but this makes him happy. You get those points on the board. Now, there's a happy quarterback. That's the guy that was the most valuable player in last year's Grey Cup. And he feels like it.
When you call the play and you execute and it works, it takes away a lot of the aches and pains. And I'm sure that man is feeling no pain right now.
What's happening? We gonna bring it on, Wes.
Well, Mims studied that field today. He knew where he was going to run tonight because he looked all over that field. First guy out tonight.
Bombers bench talking to the 2 injured players back home, Ty Jones and James West. This is Kevan Jenkins. Jenkins still on his feet. Jenkins with an excellent return for the Calgary Stampeders. Brings the ball into Winnipeg territory. Leon Hanciano there to pull him down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Hanciano in on the tackle for the
A 53-yard kick and a 34-yard return by Kevan Jenkins.
Terrence Jones hasn't played much this year, but remember, he played last year. He got in a lot of action. The year before, his first year coming up from Tulane, he played quite a bit, so he is not a rookie. He's been around.
Lots of time remaining for the Calgary Stampeders, even though they're down by 9 points. They have had to battle back in a lot of their win.
I mean, that's quick moving for an equipment manager. He came right over there and put the shoestring on that chain.
First and 10, Stamps. Jones at quarterback, replacing the injured Danny Barrett. Fires, and I believe it hits the artificial turf before it bounces up into the arms of Carl Bland. A one-hopper of Bland, neatly taken by Bland.
Credit Reinhardt.
Baseball, but it doesn't work at football.
Credit Reinhardt, though, for caving the walls in. He pushed Ken Moore back into the quarterback, and that certainly helped.
McVay comes out of the game for the Stampeders. Sapunjas is in. It is 2nd and 10 for the Stamps on the Winnipeg 53. Jones under pressure. Gets it away. Almost picked off. Good pressure from Mike Gray. Evans almost coming up with the interception for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, Reinhardt was in there again. Watch 55, Reinhardt come in, turn the shoulders, and then sprint to the outside. Michael Gray flushed him, but Reinhardt comes in and forces the bad throw and gives him a bounce. Oh.
The punt from Matic, a good one. Taken by Thompson inside his own 5, and he gets back to the 5. But the Bombers will have a big hole from which to dig themselves out of. And that was a 51-yard punt from Matic and a 3-yard return as we look at the stats for Tom Burgess on the night. A good night already. 256-yard, 3 touchdown passes in this game as his Bombers enjoy a 9-point lead over the unbeaten Calgary Stampeders. Perry Tuttle, who was shaken up on that last scoring drive for Winnipeg, went off the field under his own steam, is now back in, so he's obviously okay.
He was just counting his ribs, really. He got bounced down there pretty hard.
An old injury just to Perry Tuttle. Mims picks up 3 or 4 yards. Zizakovic is there to make the stop for Calgary.
It's a big series. Calgary has to get the ball back if they want to stay in this football game. And if Winnipeg wants to eat the clock up, they got to get a first down here. Get out of their shadow of their own goalposts. That's dangerous down there.
All right, Coach, who would you give it to? 2nd and 7 from the 8.
Oh, it's one of those running backs back there. The deepest one.
They do. Number 27, Mims. He takes it outside, cuts it up, has the first down. Boy, when you've got a guy like that in your backfield running as well as he is this season.
He doesn't miss a stride when he breaks to the outside. The thing that's so good about Mims is that he makes his cuts. But unlike some of the other backs where they have to stop and then make a cut, Mims continues. He rolls back in and out. He weaves in and outside, and he's still going the same speed all the time.
And the thing is, everybody on that Calgary defense probably knew that Mims was going to carry the ball. 1st and 10 from the 24. And again, it's Mims. And again, he dances and spins, crosses the 25-yard line, runs into Walter Ballard and Greg Peterson before he stopped.
What an effort. I mean, he broke about 5 tackles. He's just hitting and spinning and keeping his legs moving. And he went all the way down. He started on the right tackle, went all the way down over the left guard before he finished.
Darrell Rogers told us yesterday that he didn't want to give the ball to Mims 30 to 35 times a ball game. He felt that that was too much.
He also said he didn't want to punt more than 12 times, but I think both of those correlate.
2nd and 8 Bombers. Burgess passing through the middle to Hudson, complete, has the first down, crosses the 40-yard line, gets up to about the 43 or 44. Greg Peterson pulls him down.
Well, that screen play to Warren Hudson, that's a big play. The middle screen is really effective when you get a 4-man rush like Calgary gives you. They get upfield so well that there's a big void between the defenders. A lot of room in there, and those lead blockers never really got in front of the play, but Warren Hudson still broke a couple tackles and made a nice game.
That was a tough pass for Tommy Burgess to throw. Remember, he's a right-handed quarterback rolling to his left and throwing across the grain, but he managed to complete it to Hudson. 1st and 10 for the Bombers from the 44. They give to Mims. Mims with a little bit of a hole that time, crosses the 47-yard line. Zizakovic is there to make the stop for Stampeders.
Well, there again, Will Johnson is putting a lot of pressure on Matt Fenley because he's showing the stunt before the ball is snapped. He's jumping up and going down to the inside. That means that Fenley's got to break across.
Robert Mims regaining the rushing lead in the CFL. Remember, he entered the game behind Taylor and Ham of the Eskimos. Now back on top at 694. 2nd and 7 Bombers. Burgess complete to Eric Streeter, and Streeter brought down by Ron Hopkins. Does not have the first down. Now decision time. You're a yard and a half short. What do you do, Coach?
Well, I think they're going to have to punt the football, but you know, Burgess has been outstanding in this game. He's avoided the rush. He's taken some hits. He's delivered the football. Just to get that play done, I mean, that's only a 5 or 6 yard difference, but the field position on those 5 or 6 yards around midfield is a big plus. Good game for Burgess tonight.
Bob Cameron will get this punt away from his own 40-yard line. Good high spiral. Mark got it. A little bit of a hole. That's a big hole up the left side. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line. So when we come back, we have that game for you on Tuesday. And, of course, we've got the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Lansdowne Park against the Ottawa Rough Riders. That's a Thursday game. But up first, BC at Toronto, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Should be a dandy. Let's hope we get a repeat in terms of excitement of the first meeting of those two teams at BC Place Stadium, when overtime was involved. A thriller from start to finish. We've got a good one going here. Bombers lead 29-20. Stampeders have the ball. 1st and 10 from their own 42. Jones. Complete. Greg Battle in there to make the stop on Pitts. Just shy of the 50-yard line.
Gain of 7 yards on the play. 10 tackled by Greg Battle.
Well, I like to see that. Terrence Jones drops back. He knows who his top receiver is. He delivers the ball right into the numbers. That gives Pitts a chance to fight off those defenders and maybe make some yards.
The ball is spotted at the 49-yard line. Stamps need a couple of yards for the first down. And the give to the first man. Don't think he has the first down. Paul Randolph is there to make the stop on Keevan Jenkins.
Randolph made a good play. Really good play. I don't think they made it.
Terrence Jones indicating to the bench that they're about a half a yard short. He obviously wants them to go for it. Now what do you do, Coach? You're down by 9. You've got 6:12 remaining.
You go for it.
In the 4th quarter.
You go down and score. Make this a ball game.
They're sending in the horses.
You know, you can fall for a yard. I mean, all you have to do is get the snap from center. Big thing is to get the snap from center. Follow your line surge. You can make it.
Short yardage team is in. 3rd and less than a yard for the Stampeders. Fumble! And it looks as if the Bombers have recovered. The Stampeders gamble, and the gamble misfires. The Bombers take over possession of the ball. They lead by 9 with 5:53 to play in the 4th quarter.
Supposed to get the football and drive right up here. The quarterback comes out and he only gets it on his hip, and that results in a fumble. You got to put the ball in the belly button. He got it on his hip. Big play in the ball game because now Winnipeg has the ball, has the lead, and can waste a lot of time.
And a bad time, an inopportune time for that to happen to the Calgary Stampeders. That's the first time in 1991 that they have gambled on a 3rd down situation and lost. They were 9 for 9 in terms of going for it on 3rd down and making it. They are now 9 of 10.
I gotta wonder why Terrence Jones can take the football and just dive up the middle and get that 1 yard. And instead, he elected to give it to McVay on a lead play. It just wasn't there.
I think any time you go that deep in the backfield, needing less than a yard, you're in trouble.
Gives the defense a chance to react to it.
And now the Bombers have it 1st and 10 at the Stamps 45. They get the Mims.
Robert Mims, the ball.
Well, if you're picking an MVP on the Bombers side of the ball tonight, you wouldn't have to look much further than number 27 for the Bombers. Robert Mims, what a game he has had.
Well, he's done everything. He's been the Air Force. He's caught some good balls. He's been infantry. He's done a good job on the ground. And he's made some good blocks. He's been a heads-up football player.
Gain of 4 in that last play. It is now 2nd and 6 Bombers from the Stamps 41. 5 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Burgess has time, puts it up. Intended for Thompson, but it's incomplete. Junior Thurman was covering on the play for the Stampeders, read it well, and reacted well.
3rd down, Winnipeg.
Somebody should throw it.
Well, they wanted the flag on that. They thought it was interference, but now they're going to have to kick away and do a good job of coverage. Remember what 3 minutes is like in the Canadian Football League. 3 minutes takes a long time.
Get a little bit more than that. Clock is running, 4:50 showing on the clock. Bombers up by 9, 29-20. Bob Cameron on the punt. He'll get this away from about the 50-yard line of the Stampeders. Hopkins, the lone punt returner, standing just inside the end zone. Hopkins on the run. Flag is down. Hopkins dancing around, forced out of bounds at the 25-yard line. We'll have to wait and see what that flag is all about. But before we do that, let's go to Scott.
Steve, an update on the state of health of the Calgary Stampeders starting quarterback. Danny Barrett is no longer an option for the Stampeders. His back is tightened up. It's gone into spasm in the Stampeders.
Well, that's good news for the Calgary Stampeders and their fans.
No yards. Winnipeg number 15. Penalty is declined. First down, Calgary.
But not good news for this game, at least. First and 10 situation for the Stampeders. The ball's at their own 25-yard line. Situation is simply this. 4:19 to play in the fourth quarter. They're down by 9 points. Jones firing over the middle. Incomplete. Firing low, intended for Beals.
I'd say right now, with the zone coverage that they're going to see, Terrence Jones has to do what Danny Barrett does. He's got to rifle that ball in there between the linebackers, and I know they'd love to have Danny Barrett in there at this point. You like to have your veteran in there in these situations.
Second and 10 for the Stamps. Pitch complete at the 45-yard line. The first down by 10 yards to spare.
Now Winnipeg's changed a little bit. They've changed their tone. They're starting to play a little bit more zone, and Pitts will find the seam. Watch him bend inside the backer. Good by Terrence to deliver the ball.
The ball's at the 45. Stamps first and 10. Jones unloads. The ball goes up in the air off of Darrell Sampson, but they're unable to come up with the interception, but they did force the incompletion, so the defense doing their job. It'll be second and 10 from the 45 for Terrence Jones, who came on in relief of the injured Danny Barrett.
You can't have a much better night than Pitts has had tonight. They've certainly looked for him, and they've gotten him the ball.
Big second and 10 situation. Jones taking his time, now has to go outside, looking for somebody, anybody. Gets by the first tackle. And I believe, depending on where they mark it, he's going to be about a yard short of the necessary yardage for the first down. And again, it looks as if the Calgary Stampeders are going to have to gamble.
Well, he's signaling that it's a very short yardage situation to go. I don't think they'll give it to McVay this time. I think they're going to go strictly with the quarterback sneak. They're going to wedge it up the middle. They're sending in their big players.
They're sending in the big players. 3:04 to play. Fourth quarter, Bombers up by 9. Just over 3 minutes to play in the fourth quarter here at McMahon Stadium on a perfect night for football. It has been an outstanding game. 29-20, favor of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers over the undefeated Calgary Stampeders. That 6-game winning streak, 9 if you count regular season play last year, would appear to be in serious jeopardy. The Stampeders need about a yard to keep the drive alive for the first down. The ball's at the 54-yard line. They have to get to the midfield stripe for the first down. The last time they tried it, they gambled and fumbled. Let's see what they do this time. I've got a feeling that Jones won't try to hand off. He may try the quarterback sneak. Less margin for error. And that's exactly what he's done. He should have done that the time before.
Terrence Jones used to run the option down in Tulane, and he held about every record in total yardage you could ever have.
First down.
And he's capable of running with that football, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take off here in one of these pass calls and scramble with the football. That's how he can break this game open.
This one is not over yet. The Calgary Stampeders have done this on a couple of occasions so far in keeping this streak alive. They have come back and won it, but they've got a long way to go. They trail by 9 points. They are 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 54. Jones has time, fires over the middle, looking for Buckeyes, intercepted. Les Brown, his second of the night, and this is a beauty. He's still going. One man to beat. Les Brown finally forced out of bounds by Ken Moore. And if Moore hadn't have been there, Les Brown was gone.
Intercepted by Les Brown.
That play was perfectly designed because they ran the triple formation. Terrence Jones had the play. All he had to do was get the ball there sooner. Unfortunately, Les Brown had a chance to react up, but the play was wide open. He had the opportunity to get the ball to Mark Guy. They had 3 receivers to that side. Ball was thrown about a half a second late. Les Brown, being a veteran that he is, was able to take advantage.
High fives all around on the Bombers bench as Mims goes to work. Mims still on his feet. Mims down inside the 5-yard line. Gets down to the 2 before he's finally brought down
30-yard gain on the play
by Ron Hopkins of the Stampeders.
Well, I think they finally discovered what Robert Mims can do. I mean, that guy went through all 10 up front people and just about missed the last 2 people that had a chance at him. They had to put a sandwich and let him carry him down to about the 2-yard line. But that man ran through a lot of people on that play. That's determination.
And they spot the ball just over the 2-yard line where the Bombers are now 1st and goal and can drive the nail into the Stampeders' undefeated coffin. And Mims, it's only fitting, should go into the end zone for the touchdown, but a flag is down. Looks as if it's going to be offside.
Offside, Calgary number 44. Penalty declined, touchdown.
Naturally, the Bombers have declined the offside penalty, so the touchdown stands. It is 35-20, favor Winnipeg. Seventh touchdown rushing of the season for Robert Mims, and now Trevor Kennard attempts the point after. Mr. Automatic, 36-20 in favor of the Bombers. 1:51 to play in the 4th quarter.
Ponciano broke back to the outside to cover this gap, and when Robert Mims took the ball, he broke it back to the inside where there wasn't any people for the touchdown. Good surge by the offensive line. Mims broke it back into the seam. That guy can run. That guy can run with his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, always going forward with a body angle. You just get the feeling he's going to fall in even if somebody tackles him. He's got the surge.
Disappointment for Wally Bono and the Calgary Stampeders. Jubilation for Trevor Kennard and the Bombers. They have done their job and then some. Hopkins at the 20. Finds a hole. Hopkins across the midfield stripe and into the Bombers' territory. Trevor Kennard.
It's the lack of James West in there. Come on, West, it's time for you to get back, do some coverage on these kick teams. Michael Allen's hurt. There's some people, Ty Jones. The coverage teams are suffering a little bit by Winnipeg.
Jones. And he fires the ball, but he's a good 3 or 4 yards out of bounds before he fires the ball. Good pressure from the Winnipeg defense on the potential receivers, and Jones forced to hang on to the ball until he had no room in which to run.
Well, I think the thing that Darryl Rogers said going into the ball game, let's get the football to Mims. He's done that. Let's get the ball to our wideouts. He's done that. Let's protect our passer. I think he's done that. He's done a good job tonight, and I think he's got that winning streak is going to come to an end because of them following the game plan.
And this should set up a dandy return match between these two teams next week in Winnipeg. This time it looks as if Beals is home free. He is! Touchdown! Sean Beals. 54-yard strike.
That's the nice thing that Terrence Jones can provide for you. He can zip the ball. If he gets protection, knows where the receivers are. That was the play that was intercepted the play before. Down the middle, down the seam. They had it perfectly set up. Free safety's out of there. He catches the seam ball and carries people in for the touchdown.
Well, stranger things have happened this season in the CFL, referring specifically to the BC Lions and the Calgary Stampeders in their 2 overtime games. 1:26 to play. Bombers about to go back on top by only 9 points following this touchdown and the conversion, and they're going for the 2 points. They have to. Jones under pressure early, and he's dropped. Alfred Payton, the man of the moment for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Stampeders gambling, going for the 2 points, and they come away with none. What a game this guy has had in place of the injured James West.
Well, Payton came through unblocked, but the amazing thing is he made the tackle. So many times you see those unblocked linebackers coming in, and then they miss the tackle. But Terrence Jones got a solid hit put on him, but he's got to feel good. He brought them back, got a touchdown. Now if they can get the ball back, get it in Terrence Jones's hand, let him learn, because a good quarterback brings you back from behind. And you've seen that time and again in the Canadian Football League. You know, you look at these guys, the Tracy Hams and the Fluties and the Danny Barretts, they make the game so exciting. So I think this is a good chance for Terrence Jones to get in there and see what he can do.
Nail-biting time for Wally Bono and the Stampeders. Down by 10 points, 1:26 to play, 4th quarter. They will attempt the short kickoff. McLaughlin tees it up. All the players on the left-hand side of McLaughlin. The flag goes up, and Pitts reached up an arm and touched the ball before it went out of play, but the flag is down at the 40-yard line. Offside, Calgary.
Oh, my. My, oh, my. Nice job by Pitts. He reached up and knocked that ball out of bounds.
It was directly out of bounds? Yeah, no, it was touched by Calgary and went out of bounds.
It was touched by Calgary.
Winnipeg
Legally touched by Calgary.
Legally touched by Calgary.
Their option is...
Winnipeg's option?
What is this, a conversation?
Hold on, listen to me. Go ahead. Your option is to take him back 5 and have him re-kick, or take possession of the ball where it went out of bounds.
It was legally touched by Calgary.
Legally touched by Calgary and knocked out of bounds. Okay, so Winnipeg can take possession. No?
Legally touched.
Legally touched. Okay, we got to go back 5 and repeat the kickoff.
Was it offside?
Well, I understood initially what it was. Calgary was offside. Of course they had to re-kick.
Offside, Calgary.
They were down there having their own conversation.
There was no problem. Calgary were offside. Even though Pitts touched the ball, they'd re-kick it. Calgary.
They're going to throw to me, but I do have the advantage of having...
And taking it down just outside the 30-yard line of the Calgary Stampeders.
That was worth a try. They had everybody lined up to this side of the field. They were giving the impression they were going to run the same pop-up onside kick here to the wide side of the field. And at the last minute, he changed up, kicked it over to the one-man side, the safety side. It didn't go 10 yards, so it could have worked.
And Matt Pierce was there for the Bombers. So Winnipeg can put this away with a little ball control here now. They lead by 10, 36-26. 1:24 to play in the 4th quarter.
Ball control means who would get the ball?
Ball control means running out that minute 24 and not allowing the Stampeders possession of the football.
Well, in pro football, you always worry when you have a winning streak going, because you know that it's not going to last forever. So I guess the monkey's off Calgary's back in one respect. They can just relax now and play football, forget about streaks. I think the media loves streaks because it gives them something to talk about, but boy, those coaches don't like them because it really puts a lot of pressure on them. And I think Wally can relax now, just let them go, and they're in first place still. It'll be a big game.
Clock is running, just over a minute to play. Mims picking up the first down on that last carry. 1st and 10 from the 20. Mims again. And that time, Mims got back to the original line of scrimmage before running into Walter Ballard. Less than a minute to play now.
This is not unlike the games that were played last year. Wally had a tough game last year with Winnipeg. They lost the game as a result of a field goal. They came back and beat Winnipeg on a field goal. There's always a good battle when Winnipeg Calgary get together.
And that first meeting last season went into overtime. This one will not. 36-26 favor Bombers. 39 seconds to play. Mims again. This should do wonders to set up a great meeting at Winnipeg Stadium next week.
Well, the coaches love the back-to-backs because the relatively same game plan is in effect. So you got your playbook, you got your game plan, you got your scouting reports. All you do is add this game to it, but the incentives are there, the motivation is there.
Darryl Rogers says this is just an 8-quarter game over a 5-day period.
Well, he talked how hard it would be to get his club where he wanted them mentally to go into this ball game. Playing against a team that has an undefeated record helps. That gets if you're a professional athlete, you want to play somebody that's undefeated. You want to be the one to knock them off. Now they got to go back and prepare for the wrath of knocking off a team that's been undefeated.
Trevor Kennard will attempt the field goal as the clock is running, showing 7 seconds to play. And the Bombers will be called for too much time.
Time count violation, Winnipeg number 6.
Well, they were one player shy. So they alertly took the delay of game penalty to get the extra player in. I think it was Black. He had to get back in there and help protect. If you don't have protection, you may not get the kickoff.
That shouldn't be a problem for Trevor Kennard. This will come from the 33-yard line, well within his range. And that's good. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers going in front of the Stamps 39-26. This is just the icing on the cake for the Stampeders. And we show 1 second remaining to play in the game.
Well, looking back over the game, I think Tom Burgess made a lot of difference in this football game. He showed some authority out there. Didn't throw the interceptions he'd been known to throw. He threw quick, got the ball to his wideouts, which was one of the criticisms, that he hadn't gotten the ball outside. He did that effectively, and of course he had Mims in the backfield, and that helps any quarterback.
Tom Burgess has done his job tonight, as have the entire Winnipeg Blue Bomber team. And there goes the final whistle to end this game. The last team in the CFL in 1991 to taste defeat has done that tonight. The Calgary Stampeders, after coming out of the gate at 6-0, have been beaten by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 39-26.